The Red Cross is helping people prepare. We know from last summer just how quickly disaster can strike. Now people who found themselves in evacuation zones last year are planning ahead. As Audrey Wheel explains now for Fox 12, for some that means not just being able to get themselves to safety, but also their animals.
The Red Cross says be informed, have an emergency kit in case you need to evacuate, and have a plan. The volunteer here we spoke with broke it down really easily, even though I know getting prepared for these things can seem daunting. We also spoke to someone who helped move livestock during last year's wildfires about how farmers and ranchers are preparing. This is what Dustin Welters drove through last year in chaotically evacuating dozens of livestock in the Santiam Canyon. Fire all around.
It was right there, and we were just moving these animals out in the nick of time. None of us were expecting to wake up that morning to a pitch black sky and smoke and flames on the horizon, that's for sure.
He lives in Scio, and his in-laws own Gorley Family Dairy. He says now this year, they and other farmers have been keeping the pasture mowed down and making sure to have plenty of water on hand.
Our well would not have been able to defend our property had the fire made it to our doorstep. And so I'm currently in the process of putting in a 2,500-gallon storage tank with a pump on it, just as backup in case it comes to it again.
And he encourages everyone with livestock to know ahead of time how to evacuate them.
You know, it takes time to move animals, especially when they're in a stressful situation like that.
Many of us just have our families and homes to think about. That's when an evacuation kit is so important, with food, water, clothes, and medications ready to go at a moment's notice. Red Cross volunteer Daryl Fuller says you might want to add to that list too, with charging cables, things to occupy kids like coloring books.
Kit, if there are things in your house that are important to you that you don't want to lose, whether it's grandmother's pearls or your wedding pictures or that memento from your honeymoon.
He says think through what you'll need and what you'll do, because small things make a big difference.
Know what you're going to do if at 2 o'clock in the morning a sheriff's deputy bangs on your door and says you need to leave now. Number one is have a flashlight on your bedside, because if they're banging at the door, there's a good chance you don't have any power.
Welters says with the dry conditions and hot weather already, they're taking this seriously.
I think ourselves and a lot of other people included are already starting to prepare for what could be a long season.
And the Red Cross has a checklist online of things you can put in your emergency kit. The volunteer we spoke with said that it's good to have up to 2 weeks of supplies, but if that's too much, you can always start with at least enough for a weekend. And he said one easy way to do things is to just buy a few items at a time every time you're at the grocery store, and before you know it, you'll have that kit made. Reporting in Northeast Portland, Audrey Wheel, Fox 12 Oregon.